Hello, Bible readers. It is Thursday, October 22nd. We're reading from Joshua 19 through 21 and Luke chapter 18, verses 1 through 30. You might notice I'm in my office. I rarely actually do go to my office and work from my office, but it is Wednesday evening as I record this, and got worship here in a second, so here I am. Oh, that I could record here every day. As we read Joshua, little dry these three chapters, and as I was reading, what can I say about these chapters? There's not a lot to say. Chapter 19, the last six tribes, they get their hills. They have to be mentioned. I guess they can't not be mentioned, so there's that. Chapter 20 is about towns for refuge, which is a pretty weird concept to us who enjoy organization and a level of law and order. And I know that's very controversial right now in our current landscape, but we aren't living in a time of just vengeance and complete anarchy, which is pretty much vigilantism. That's pretty much what ancient Israel at this point would have been. So to have a town for refuge, what a gift, right? I mean, that would have been an oasis in the midst of what is otherwise constant danger. And then chapter 21 is about these pasture lands for Levites. I'll leave that to you. Luke, I'll say more about Luke. Pray always without giving up. And it's funny because for tonight, Wednesday night, I'm preaching on Hannah from the Narrative Lectionary, and the whole sermon is about how much Hannah and her relationship with God is meant to be an example and a teaching moment for all of Israel and for us too, 3,000 years later. She exposes her need to God. She's just honest and open and prays persistently. And from her persistence, once she is graced by God with that which she has asked for, she doesn't keep the gift for herself, right? Samuel is born to Hannah, who was barren, but she has promised to not keep Samuel to herself, but instead offers him up as a Nazirite, which is we'll see what that all is as we get further into the Old Testament. But pray always without giving up is what Jesus is saying in this story from Luke. And then Jesus says, will God not do justice for his elect ones? God remembers Noah. God remembers Abraham. God remembers his covenant. God remembers, there's so many God remembers. And Jesus is basically saying, God's going to remember you in your persistent praying. This story is also, it's a great example of humor. Jesus is being funny here. Basically, a bag lady, a little old lady, is giving the magistrate a black eye, right? And I think those who heard Jesus probably would have chuckled in response. Jesus is not just some dry, I bring law from the mountaintop on stone tablets, listen thee. I think Jesus was more charismatic and conversational and stories and parables, and that's part of what made him a great teacher, was that he was able and willing to be funny at times. Prayer itself, Luke is getting after what prayer is. Prayer is our relationship with God. I want you to think about that. As much as communication between friends or between in a marriage, that kind of is what the marriage is. That is what the friendship is, the communication, the ability to communicate. Prayer is our relationship with God. I find that to be profound when you think about what Jesus is saying. Finally, the kingdom of God. Luke is trying to make a straight line between how the kingdom of God is for infants. It's not even little ones who have any choice in the matter. It's that it is done to you. And so again, as Lutherans would say, grace, the kingdom of God, you don't have to do something to get into it. receive it, respond to it. And again, that's like the Hannah thing. She receives the gift of a son and responds in kind by not keeping this gift to herself. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.